It is August, and we have the latest channeling session from the members of Ashtar Command on Hades Base for your enjoyment and enlightenment. My name is Russ Hatfield, and I am joined by my twin soul Kara, who is a higher dimensional member of Ashtar Command stationed on the base. For the channeling session for August, we are departing from the Legacy series this month. This one is from 1998 instead of the usual 1994, and thus is one of the clearest sounding recordings we've posted recently. Kiri starts things off by informing us that Tia wasn't on the base and she had requested that one of her assistants take over in her stead. The gentleman chosen got the assignment due to his research into the subject being discussed. We find out his name is Taal, just like the wing commander, but this Taal is Syrian and not one of the pilots. His English skills, though, are comparable to the wing commander's, and he reveals he's approximately 500 years old and knew Kiri and Kara's father, as well as them when they were very young. Much of what he goes over is the DEFCON status, which is what the base was using to determine the status quo of the planet, much as NORAD would. Kiri comes back on, and we learn that only Oathkeepers like Laika eat meat among the Syrians. She also begins to explain relationships on a higher dimension, and would be expanding on this subject significantly when she would speak at the end of the tape. Omal takes questions, and one that had been going around recently in the news was on the Tailwind incident, which involved the government cover-up about sarin gas used by the U.S. during the Vietnam War. Also, we get to hear about the odds of a comet hitting our planet due to a movie that had come out called Armageddon. Mark and Kiri's son, Leonides, finishes up the side with an address he'd like passed on to the other races taking part in the intergalactic conference being organized. He may be only 3 years old, but he's a super operant and supremely intelligent during this session. The note on the person that we discuss in Northern California on side 2 with Leonides is that she is a channel for Ashtar Athena, who has spoken once in a channeling session of ours. Now, we were looking at enlisting her help to see if her participation might be included in the conference. The other side 2 notes include as well Kara coming to help out our female guest with a woman-to-woman chat. Kara had been doing some research on drugs and alcohol and had some great information to pass on to our guest about those subjects, as they had been a problem until recently with her. This was the first time we would hear about the population of Sirius being about 15 to 20 million, an amazingly small number of people for an entire planet. To expand on the subject that she had started earlier, Kiri now explains the sexual side of being higher dimensional. She goes into depth about the differences between sex and making love. The short version is that one is spiritual and one is not. For a full transcript of this latest channeling session, please go to our main homepage at HadesBaseNews.com. We invite you to subscribe to be kept informed of future postings on our YouTube channel from the members of Ashtar Command. Now, we present our latest entry into the Hades Base archives recorded in 1998, The Other Taal and the Families of Sirius.
Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? I think it's somebody's idea of a joke.
No, sure.
In the shadow there, it looked realistic, didn't it?
Yeah, me at first. It looks like Smurf did that. But I already moved it so I knew it was.
Okay, let's put that there so we can get closer to you guys.
Oh,
So you don't have to speak up so loudly.
never did anyway.
Yeah, which was part of the problem that we need to be a little bit more vocal. Okay, got any questions?
Well, let's see. Well, stuff I have for Tia, I suppose I can have you, right?
No,
Well, stuff I have for you, I can have Tia, right?
sometimes. Normally you could if Tia was on the base, but she's not. So we can't have that link.
I know, but I mean, you might know some of this stuff.
Well, as I'm acting as ring mistress, you can ask me after the first guest.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay? But do you have any questions to me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know I don't know, what type of person would I be described as?
Impulsive.
Impulsive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that bad for my situation?
It can be both good and bad. Impulsive is not a derogatory term, nor is it a positive term. Impulsive is a way to describe somebody that suddenly decides to do something.
Yes. And what if we don't have the material to do it?
Then that can be detrimental.
Can it cause acne?
Mhm.
Yeah, cause for
Um, yes, if you suddenly decide to do something without proper planning, then certainly stress does play a factor into it. But acne is not related to stress directly, as far as I know. You'd have to ask our resident Miss Smarty Pants or Mrs. Smarty Pants ambassador know-it-all healer.
Oh, good idea.
Okay. I suppose I better put on the first speaker.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Okay. Be gentle with the first speaker. I don't look like a Sid like Tia does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Mhm.
First, I speak on my introduction. Kiri said to say, do you know who I am being?
No.
I have a person that of knowing that speaks similarly. First, English is not my speaking tongue.
No.
Okay. Giving you a prompt. I work for one who is away.
Oh, you work for Tia.
That is a right comment.
Ah, so we have not met yet.
I have a person of knowing that has same name that Kiri said speaks like I do. We share same name.
Um.
I also pick up bronze medal in downhill for male.
Oh. Um. You're not. Your name isn't. Oh, what is it? What is it?
Okay, the final comment leading to conclusion.
Okay.
If I were person of same name, you would stand upright with hand beside ear.
Oh.
I have same name.
Oh. Okay.
I am assistant to one who is away.
Well, congratulations on the bronze medal.
Thank you. I am to be covering that topic laid out by she who must be obeyed.
Okay.
First of all, I will start off with I do not know what this word is saying. that it is a long paragraph or many paragraphs. I'm not quite sure what the word being would be to describe it, but I will start.
Okay.
Concerning the problems in the state of fire being Florida, it is of concern for damage of a currency value that is approaching a declaration of unstable condition. However, being that weather intervenes in a way that is causing precipitation to fall and dampening the problem, it is no longer a part of the equation, even though the fiscal loss is approaching that of the criteria laid out for declaring the advancement of the status of readiness. Concerning that status of readiness, the fortuitous climb in the purchasing market, I do not know what the word was before, I am assuming increased to do the purchasing, is acting in a way that the situation of advancement to a higher level of preparedness is not of concern at this time. Being concerned and watching, it is necessary to lay out again to specify in a clearer form, if that is possible for me with my limited linguistic ability, to explain the criteria for advancement. Advancement to the next level requires a drop in the purchasing market of 150 points. Also, a natural phenomena of disastrous ability, such as the situation in Florida. Also followed by, before or during, civil disobedience within the continental area of the landmass, or the areas that are looked over by the continental map. Moving to the next topic that she who must be obeyed asked me to follow. Current visits by political dignitaries that will remain nameless to countries of, again, I do not know what the word that she has written here, it is hard to read, but being of the eastern area, I think it reads Chin,
China.
China. It is an unusual looking line of words. This visit being a paying off of certain fiscal donations and action achieved only to portray both leaders to their people as strong, serving very little purpose to gain for either's country, being a situation that is just for show and face. Okay, now I am allowed to ask questions and answer to my best judgment by she who must be obeyed.
All Now, you mentioned that, we'll start with the last one first. Clinton and his visit to China was merely just a image perception for both peoples of both countries. And there was no real substance to those meetings or visits.
I correct you. His show was for the people of his country, not for those of the country that he visits.
Oh, okay. Alright. And they're paying off the fiscal debts that for donations, I should say. This is something that helped him gain the presidency in the first place.
That is being a correct assumption.
Okay. Now, the perception in the media is that this helped establish a trading relationship between the two countries that is stronger than it was prior to this.
If anything, my analyzing of this area and she who must be obeyed gave this to me for a reason. I studied this setup.
Okay.
If anything, it is more out of balance than it has been in the last 10 years. For every day, the trade imbalance grows by approximately 100 million of your dollars. I believe that is 1 billion.
Yeah. This is not good though. The whole point of this
It is
trip.
not bad either.
Yeah. That really means though that we are buying more than we're selling.
So therefore the living standards of those people of that land being better for the purchasing of your people.
Okay. Now, how do these two topics that you mentioned relate?
Which of those?
The current conditions that would bring about the destabilization of our current financial situation and Clinton's visit to China.
If anything, it aided in the recent climb, being due to the fact that he has an answer for that question that it says here, due to the fact that being away he did not have opportunity to vocalize his concerns over fiscal activities.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, in the area that we spoke of about the destabilization, you mentioned civil disobedience within the USA. You mentioned a natural phenomenon, such as the fires in Florida and the drop in the market of 150 points. You also mentioned that the civil disobedience could take place in the territories governed or looked over by this continent. Now, would that include countries in which we have a partnership with, or countries which are actual territories?
Countries is a inaccurate word. I refer to a group of islands.
Oh, Puerto Rico. Or Hawaii.
Those are the ones.
Hawaii. Okay, thank you. Hawaii. Alright. So, according to Tia, she said that we came very close to reaching this moment of advanced destabilization, except for the fact the market did not drop.
That is correct.
But the civil disobedience she was talking about actually happened in Ireland.
That does not add into the equation.
Correct. Well, I'm not sure which civil disobedience was key to this happening. You would not know.
No, I would not. It would have to be asked of she who must be obeyed.
Okay. Now then, as far as our changing economic status continues, with all three events taking place at the same time, and the advanced status of preparedness is announced, and that
Would be self-evident. It is being set up in a way that it is not needed to be announced.
okay, and we'll see it when it does come.
That is being correct.
Okay. So this needs to be communicated to a worldwide basis to make this the most useful form of announcement or information distribution.
That would be self-evident, would it not?
It would.
I am not known for my
Diplomacy?
that being one overall cover to explain that I maintain a dry personality.
Yeah. Well, that's helpful for analyzing information, though.
It is more than helpful. It makes me suited. Well,
Okay. If I could ask, your origin is Assyrian?
correct.
Okay.
Being a skier,
Ah,
we may be able to deduce from whence I arrived.
that would be this winter? Previous winter?
No,
Okay.
whence I being from.
Oh, where you from? So basically, when you were on a previous team before Hades Base, I take it?
I have been on few things, many things.
Oh,
I even watch two young ladies grow and learn to participate in the pleasure of skiing. Give me more clue on from whence I originate.
So you're quite old then.
Define old.
More than 100 years.
That is being of young.
And then we'd be talking more like 500 years.
That is more to the mark.
Okay.
I remember very, very young men being led by hand before his two daughters were a thought in his mind's eye.
That would be our current president of Sirius, I take it.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, that's, you were on Sirius then.
That is being correct assumption.
Alright, so then you came to the base shortly, no, approximately 30 years later?
More than 30 years. I have been on base this time for 30 of your cycles.
Oh, okay.
I remember rambunctious one being yay tall with this long, skis on little feet, skiing with knees together.
Ah. Well, now she's out there competing with you.
She better pass the teacher.
Excellent. Well, this is an honor and a pleasure to be talking to you tonight, then.
You are welcome. Now I must be away. I go.
Farewell, and thank you for visiting today. Knees together, huh, darling?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. I'll have to start somewhere, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. You remember the story about me and the young lady in the swimming pool?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. That's his daughter.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Oh. I was gonna bring that up, too, and I decided not to.
What happened?
I was caught in a compromising position in the swimming pool with Taal's daughter.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
is that allowed on your planet?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There are very few things that are forbidden. Killing of another person is forbidden.
Okay.
Killing of another animal is forbidden except for certain individuals. Those are mainly oath keepers.
Okay.
They need the extra iron, and they burn very brightly. They're very bright, shiny people that live every moment. Sexual matters, there is no taboo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. 2 guys, 2 girls, 3 girls, 4 guys, doesn't matter. But all for pleasure and fun.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any questions?
Well, basically, he answered a lot of them. But,
So that's Tia's nickname, huh?
one who must be obeyed.
That's she who must be obeyed. Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. I think that's his stab at humour.
That's great. But isn't it kind of unusual here? He watched girls grow up, and now he's working with Tia,
No,
channeling with you.
first time or probably the last time that he would challenge me, he seemed very uncomfortable.
Oh, I think pretty comfortable to me.
But you ought to see him squirm and fidget.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
well, he gives some good information though.
Mm-hmm.
And basically did a lot of good confirmation stuff through last week.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I better put on the next person. I'm not going to say that. You have to excuse me, I am in a very rambunctious mood. Okay, let's try to make it easy for him to talk. Greetings and felicitations. Greetings, Linda. Greetings, Russ.
Hi, Amal. How's it going?
It is going well. Okay, I will briefly go over a few points.
Okay.
Taal mentions only one advancement to DEFCON 3. For DEFCON 2, it is, I believe, a 250 point drop, pre-natural disasters and pre-civil disobediences within your continental USA.
Okay.
Okay, that needed to be explained and enlarged upon. Okay, now, I'm going to throw out my usual format of giving a dissertation, which I believe is the word that he was looking for, and leave the floor open to discussion and questions and answers.
Excellent.
First of all, Linda, question. Did Kiri's comments make you feel uncomfortable?
No, not at all.
Okay. Kiri said that she didn't want to embarrass you.
No.
But she likes to be open with her deviation.
I've just been having a very difficult time with my femininity in this um in this lifespan.
Ah,
It's been very hard to be feminine when it seems like I'm constantly um either on display or I'm trying to prove myself as a human being, as a person.
When Kiri comes back, I suggest that you talk to her about that.
Okay.
Kiri is also quite stunning,
Okay.
much as her sister is.
Mhm.
Kiri's way of dealing with the attention and distraction, please pause.
Speaking of this. Okay.
Okay. Okay, let us leave the floor now open if you wish to pursue this avenue. We can continue discussing it if you wish, Linda.
No, this is fine.
Okay, but I do suggest that you discuss it with Kiri.
Okay.
Okay. Russ?
Alright, we've had some interesting changes in our media lately concerning things which are said by the media and then having to be taken back.
This would be the tailwind incident.
That's correct.
I'm surprised that Tia did not cover this.
Well, she wasn't here.
That is correct, but it has been known for some time. I believe Tia would have probably shot down the comments before they even started. Concerning this comment of using certain gases to neutralize defectors, the dangers in using these gases would make it detrimental to use them in such an operation. If you think about the instability of these gases, then not only would the target be damaged, but possibly a large area around. Or if something went wrong in the delivery, innocent individuals would have been harmed. So these statements by individuals of dubious sources, by their own admission or own wording, if you know anything about these gases, would have created a serious problem if something had gone wrong. So my assumption would have been that this never happened, that this was a fabrication. I see this as a symptom of your popular reporting press, that they not only report what they want you to know, but what they think you should know, which may not be the actual facts. And this is a prime example of those kind of erroneous comments.
Now, I have a different theory on this.
Okay.
It's my opinion that the reporters in question were being used, that the competition, the heavy competition between newsmen to report a story first was used in somebody's advantage to get a story out that would hurt the government of the United States.
Why would it hurt your government, your current government? Would it not be hurting the government that was involved in those operations, which I believe at the time was Nixon, 72?
Yeah, I guess it would be seven. It'd be either Nixon or Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
But
Either way, what purpose would it serve? So, those individuals are both on a different consciousness,
right.
and the people that work for them are either no longer working in that political field or are also on a different level of consciousness.
Well, it's a question of perception, whereby the army or the government is seen already as being corrupt and hiding things. Then this is another example of the government hiding something that it did that was against its own policies. Would that not hurt our government now because it would just be a carryover of a cover-up?
Not necessarily. Due to the fact that it happened almost 30 years ago, to be precise, 26 years ago. What harm would that do to the current setup?
Distrust in the government?
That already exists.
True.
So if it is being aimed at individuals, it is being aimed at those that are no longer serving.
Okay. It still worries me a bit that the media is so free in its ability to report things irresponsibly like this.
Yes, it is a worrying situation.
Because it's things like this, for example, as with the Rodney King trial, that could cause the civil disobediences that was just mentioned in the prior speaker.
Correct. But remember that for a advancement in the DEFCON level, it would have to be coupled with a natural disaster and a drop in the stock market, would it not?
Well, yes, but this is the point I'm getting to, that any report like this could actually trigger all three at once.
Correct. But it did not.
True.
And it was soon disproved.
True.
But you do not hear as much of a hoo-ha on the retraction.
That's true. I would have been, highly upset if, I'd been lied to like this.
Mm-hmm. Why are you not highly upset?
Because we didn't believe in the first place.
But still, there are a lot of people that did.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they not clamoring for the heads of the individuals that reported this erroneous information?
Wait a minute. That's it. It's because we're so used to hearing this kind of thing that we didn't get upset that much in the first part, as much as normally would have happened. And so when we find out it didn't happen, we're not getting so upset again because we're so used to this happening. We've gotten immune to this stuff.
Which is a sad state to be in.
It's a real sad state.
Okay, let us move along.
All right.
Linda, do you
Yeah.
have more questions?
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. Now, going along with the topics that were just mentioned prior to the other speaker, the current visit by Clinton to China.
Mm-hmm.
Now, China, is that becoming more of a symbol for democracy, let's say, starting to spread, or is that just the communists appeasing the West and the trade situation?
I would say it is more the communists appeasing the West. There is a Chinese philosophy called the long view. I believe we have covered this in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the long view is?
Yeah, that 100 years is nothing to them.
But what is the long view?
Isn't that like the big picture?
No.
Oh,
It is one day they will rule your planet. And they have plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
That is the long view. Okay, 3 more questions.
I have to watch myself then. Okay.
You think I am laying you a trap?
Yes.
Now, Russ, would I?
Yes, you would.
Of course.
Okay. The current movie out right now, Armageddon, discusses the possibility of a comet hitting the planet and causing mass damage and the events to try to stop that from happening.
Okay.
Odds of this happening?
1,000 to 1.
Okay. Um, any preparations that we should make in the future for this to happen?
Depending on where the comet is projected or the meteor is projected to hit. If it is projected to hit within a 1,000-mile radius, depending on the size, let us say it is the size of let's say it is 2 miles wide. Within 1,000 miles of your residence, to quote an individual, kiss your butts goodbye. If you survive the initial impact, you will perish in the fires that will follow. If you survive the fires, I estimate 6 months of winter, regardless of the time of year. Closer to 9 if it hits in the winter of your time. Preparation for it. If you wish to survive, the ideal thing would be wait for the fires to pass over. Bury food supplies deeply. Afterwards, you would have 3 months with no light. Also, I would suggest be prepared to hike down to low lands. It is a bleak picture. However, I would not worry about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Last question. Oh, there's a spider next to your arm.
Oh,
Could
there was
you
a big spider
Could
next
you
to her.
remove it, please? Thank you. I know it was absolutely,
Clarify mark.
yes. In fact, you would probably break out into a cold sweat and probably lose control. Do not tell him that there was one around.
Not.
Okay.
Last question. In going around today and talking to various individuals concerning the venture that I am now taking part in,
Mm-hmm.
I was discovering the use of keywords to bring across my ideas more clearly and to generate the excitement that I feel for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so today was a good lesson in how to communicate using keywords to bring about an idea among people. Can we work with this in the future?
It has already been worked with. Have you not listened to what Corton has said?
Yes.
Have you not listened to what I have said and how I constructed my sentences, as does Corton?
Sure.
So, has not the pathway been laid?
Indeed it has.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. And I asked 3 questions back.
Excellent.
You are welcome. Live long, prosper, and, as always, I'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah, how big was that?
Oh, it was,
I think that would have wigged Mark out.
anyway, how you doing, love?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
Okay, I'm going to put on the next speaker, and then I'm going to leave myself time at the end, as always.
As always. It's
As
nice to have you
always.
back at the Dream Mistress. It's been a long time.
I even have my whip handy.
Okay, no.
Okay.
Let's be sure.
Yeah, got to put on the next speaker before his bedtime. Greetings and felicitations and welcome.
Ladies.
Greetings. Okay, for tonight's intense purpose greetings, young lady, even though you are much older than I am in this current form. I am Daniel for tonight.
Daniel, this is Linda. Linda, this is Daniel.
No. For the editing.
Oh, that's right. Leonides. This is Linda. Linda, this is Leonides.
It is a pleasure to meet you, young lady.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Okay. It is necessary for me to intervene again in this ongoing development of the discussions. I feel that it is appropriate to ask more individuals to look for hosts to be able to channel for these coming discussions. I am prompted to do so not by the lack of interest and not by the lack of efforts. There have been many great efforts and pushing and prodding by one of the selected and chosen individuals to act as a helper for the forum. However, it is my belief and the opinions of others that it would be beneficial to lay out a challenge, as it were.
A challenge.
For other races to show that they are superior by participating. I believe and feel strongly that it is necessary to lay forth the groundwork for these discussions by showing that these participating races are superior in their compassion and understanding will be beneficial for all parties involved. This being the action desired, so therefore, by helping to formulate a plan that is necessary for the development of the evolution of a species is beneficial for all parties, even those that are superior morally and more sophisticated in their spirituality. I'm sorry, I shouldn't speak so fast. It is desired to help. Okay, questions?
Yes. What are the coming changes in our possible advancement in the DEFCON? Don't the other races understand that there are inherent problems in this future that we face?
Yes.
And they're not warning anybody about them?
Some are.
Oh. Those are the ones we should be talking to, right? Because they understand also the need for change.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can't give you their names. That is too much interference for my part.
But it's something to work with anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Now, somebody in Northern California called herself Lady Aileron Ashtar Athena,
Mm-hmm.
and claims to be actually Ashtar Athena. Is that actually a channel for Ashtar Athena then?
What do you think?
Well, I think it is, but it seems to me she would be somebody that we could approach, but only in the respect that she might know others who could help us.
Mm-hmm. It is likely that she is a channel for Ashtar Athena. However, it is also very, very likely that she has let herself become involved. Remember one of the criteria, that being that an individual that is a host must not let their personality or individuality or their own plans, desires and dreams get in the way.
So Ashtar Athena could be working through her to bring about the necessary changes.
Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, she has let her own personality and her judgment get involved. Somebody that calls themselves Lady Aileron Ashtar Athena has obviously done that. Would it not be correct?
That's true.
So Ashtar Athena, knowing her as well as I do, will probably grin and bear this and continue to work through her.
Okay.
But you see what I'm saying?
Right. I see what you're saying. An interesting new thing that has come up is the fact that the Zeta Reticuli are getting more media attention lately.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if possible, then we could go ahead and, well, hopefully find somebody else who can channel with them.
Mm-hmm.
But being that they're a collective consciousness, isn't it kind of tough for them to actually use a channel for anything? Because they're already speaking with one mind.
They've done it in the past and they'll do it again.
Oh.
It would be difficult to find somebody that they all agree on and are prepared to use.
Right.
Okay, I can only answer maybe 2 more questions as...
You have to go to bed.
No, well, yes, but also being of a little body and having consumed a large quantity of fluid of the fermented grass variety
Okay.
that is white. I think you call it milk.
Ah, yes.
It is pressuring my little bladder.
Okay. Well, we'll keep it easy. We'll just give you one more question.
Okay.
Okay. With the Merkus statements
Mm-hmm.
that we have now, and the various other help that we've got, then you mentioned bringing about more channels or more people looking for channels
Uh-huh.
to help with this whole entire situation.
Mm-hmm.
That goes on the web.
Yes.
But when we tried that before, we didn't really get that much.
What did Sunanda say? Patience.
Patience.
And don't crucify yourself. He's had an experience with that. Okay, I gotta go. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And off, my son puddles.
Only 3, right?
Mm-hmm. When he comes upon doing that, I need to put his sleeper on him. And then I will let Mark take care of putting them to bed.
Okay.
Okay? Yes?
No question.
Okay. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Nice.
I don't know.
I'm doing good. I think between Yeah, and truly, tonight has been a very informative night.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he arrange for Taal, Kiri decided to let Leonides stay up and participate.
Oh, that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's very good at this.
Yes, although he does let his speed of thought process get in the way of the vocal communication. Hmm. There again. That's what you have when you're an eighth-dimensional being inhabiting a sixth-dimensional body. Learning to slow down his thought processes.
Yeah, here it is. That's a dumb gentleman. Hey, here she is. Ashtar Athena.
Mhm.
Ashtar Athena. Yeah. So Mount Shasta. See, that's her there.
Mm-hmm.
Very flowery.
What did Leonides
We
say?
of the Brotherhood would like to share a heartening glimpse of events that will be transpiring in the very near future, and thus serve and foster encouragement to all.
That's Ashtar Athena. We all
That's
love
Ashtar
him.
Athena indeed, yeah. You come and talk to Mark once.
Oh.
It sounded pretty much the same thing.
Very flowery.
Very flowery. Well, I think you gotta look for keywords in her stuff.
Oh, very much so.
Well, she does achieve quite a bit that needs to be done to help us get through this next session.
Well, she is a very good, what would you call it? Public relations.
Mm-hmm.
She is so eloquent. And it is not very often that she will answer questions. Or if she does, she will lead the individual by the hand through the questions that she is prepared to answer by setting up comments that are open for asking the questions.
Well, we'll have to work at least, I think, is she a web page?
Probably.
Maybe she's good to actually contact and get an idea a little bit. Oops, too far. What's
Last for us is pontificating and researching.
yeah.
Linda, do you have any questions?
I was just curious. Does stress cause acne or split ends?
No, split ends, no. A lot of sun damage. Washing your hair too much, believe it or not, called split ends.
Mm.
Eating incorrectly can cause split ends. A lot of sunlight, definitely.
I don't get that much sun because I got really fair skin.
Brushing your hair a lot will cause split ends.
Yeah.
So will static electricity, believe it or not.
That sounds like it might do that.
Mm-hmm. Acne, again, that can be related to diet. Stress, not really. If a imbalance in testosterone occurs, again, that will produce acne, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the amount of the imbalance, depends on how big the outbreak is. If you suddenly develop serious acne, I would get very concerned that you have a high testosterone imbalance.
In my chin area 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I had a dramatic change in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I suddenly became very. I wasn't a day sleeper anymore. I became a type of person that would sleep while I was walking.
Hmm.
And I would go out in the nighttime, and I was very fascinated with poetry. And the only way I found myself able to memorize poetry was by singing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, maybe that had something to do with the acne on my chin that was breaking out. Because I was going through a lot of stress at the time, too.
Well, the thing is that stress can increase the testosterone imbalance. Everybody needs testosterone.
Yeah.
We have less than they do, meaning us women as opposed to those men.
Yeah.
So if our testosterone suddenly increases, we're more masculine, But our bodies aren't designed to be more masculine.
No, they aren't.
The estrogen and everything gets suppressed, and we develop things like facial hair, acne, so on.
Mm.
And for it to realign, may take some time. Also, it can cause such problems as sleeping.
Oh,
Sleeping becomes difficult. Another thing that is another cause of acne, which again is creating an imbalance in the chemicals in our bodies, increasing the testosterone,
Yeah.
is withdrawal symptoms from drugs
Yeah.
or going on them.
Going on them is what caused it.
Hmm. And then coming off of them can also throw the body through a loop, sometimes to a lesser extent, sometimes to a greater extent, depending on how much acne you suffered before.
Never ever did I have any problem.
Hmm.
But I thought that had a lot to do with my drinking.
Again, drinking will, throw the bodies out
It
of
made
whack.
my skin very clear.
Hmm. You're lucky there are some people that are allergic to alcohol. Not in a bad way, but they will develop flushing.
Oh yeah, broken blood, that surface vessel.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an allergic reaction to alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Even applying alcohol to the skin will have the same effect.
Yeah, they get this complexion of an orange.
Hmm.
Even though it's not orange, but it basically feels or looks like it.
Yes. Hmm.
It's very red.
Hmm. And that is one of the unfortunate things. Alcohol is a very strange drug. Too much of it obviously is very, very harmful.
Yeah, too much of anything, I would imagine.
Hmm.
Too much of even our very own selves and no one else.
Yes, being very tamed in upon oneself can be a problem.
Yeah.
But alcohol is the same as a very interesting drug. Certain forms of alcohol, such as wine, in very minor moderation, is very good for you.
Mm-hmm.
It helps the digestive process, helps the flow of blood.
Yeah.
It can take a stressful situation and make it mellow. Other forms of alcohol have totally the opposite effect.
Yeah.
They can make you very aggressive, they can make you very jumpy, very nervous, they can depress you, they can excite you, whatever.
I've seen some very, very strange behaviors in my day
Hmm.
from alcohol.
I've never had that misfortune to indulge too much in anything, except for one thing.
What's that?
Something I enjoyed. We won't go into it this time.
Okay.
Mhm. But stress only if it's in conjunction with other things, such as using a substance, whether it is alcohol or some form of narcotic or recreational pharmaceutical, can create acne. So in a way, yes, stress does play a part, but it depends what it's in conjunction with.
I'm not having any problem with it anymore.
Hmm.
But anyway, I'm just glad I don't do that anymore.
Well, the way that it works, from what I've seen, and you sparked an interest in it,
Uh-huh.
and whilst I was researching, I came across a horror story where they were cutting, what's that white powder?
Oh, cocaine?
Cocaine. They were cutting it, and they were putting in bleach.
Oh my gosh, usually they use baby laxative.
Bleach?
Bleach.
What the hell good would that do for anybody? Or bad, why?
Well, they were adding it with, I think, talcum powder and bleach.
Bleach and talcum powder?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of effect is that going to give you?
It just bulks it up. But this is what I learned in my research, is that because they are protective over it, and they control how it is cut. And they're in it for one purpose, money. They want as many people to stay alive as possible.
Just keep it going.
Just keep it going. Because if people start buying from their product, they're out of business.
Yeah, in fact, in some of the major cities, heroin has their very own name brand.
Mm-hmm.
China White.
There's all these different names.
Pixie dust.
You had to do
Dream
some
dust.
research,
Angel
darling.
dust.
Red
Sorry?
rum.
You had to do some research.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Hey, I've got access to computer systems I never had access before.
That's true.
So, in a way, my advice is, first of all, don't slip back. But if you do go for a government employee, they try to keep you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're not going to slip back.
So it made it. It's going to be it's going to be very, very easy to stay clean.
If lessons weren't tough, they wouldn't be lessons sometimes.
That's right. That's right.
And I wanted to, if you could, if you see Leonidas tonight, before he goes to bed, to thank him for me for giving me a kick in the butt and giving me the boost in the right direction.
Did he rip your shields down?
No, actually, he left them alone.
Because I saw him power up in an aggressive power stance and then he backed down.
No, he saw me getting defensive all of a sudden.
Ah.
As soon as he started saying, I'd like to address. Boom!
You know that wouldn't have worked against him.
I know.
He would have just dismounted them and you wouldn't have even known.
Yeah, I know. He's pretty good. But after that many years, I would be too, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
What,
that
3 years?
yeah, that is a good push in the right direction, though. That if we can get submissions and get them to where they'll take them.
I thought his wording was very risky until he explained what he's up to.
Well, I think the key is you can need to submit some stuff we've already put on a web page. For example, some of that special stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think that would go under the title of the conference section. That's why I think he did the diagonal routing.
You're right.
Kettle's boiling.
Yeah, indeed it is. Oh, I'm gonna leave the tape on, or
Yeah, we can chat for a moment.
chat for a while with
Okay.
the tape, and I'll.
Girls chat.
There you go. I'll get you ready. Real great coming up.
Okay. So where was I? Oh yeah. When I was doing my research, I covered a lot of other substances.
Uh-huh. My favorite substance is just to be dwelling within my own curiosity and like I believe every month is set up for certain seeds that are meant to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that is not able in every part of the world,
Mm-hmm.
but I just believe America was meant to be set up in certain astrology signs of each person knowing their seed.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Getting back to recreational pharmaceuticals for a moment.
Okay.
It seems to me that the more harmful ones are the ones that are created by the humans. If you use things like cannabis, or what do you call it, marijuana.
Yeah, that is not made by humans.
No. And, yeah, it is far, far less damaging than alcohol or tobacco. And also in my research...
It opens the mind for new relations and ideas.
You love this one. Also in my research, I discovered that natural recreational pharmaceuticals such as marijuana, chewing coca leaves, and those little tiny mushrooms, right, don't make you aggressive.
Not at all, not unless you're confronted, but that would happen even if you were clean and sober.
Correct. Unless you are pushed and pushed and pushed. In fact, it's even harder with the coca leaf and marijuana. However, as soon as humans start interfering, manipulating, and adding and cutting and whatever.
It's like being woken up out of a sound sleep, and that sometimes is is considered violent. People wake
Yeah.
up shaking.
Hmm. But the thing that I discovered was that, yeah, things like crank, coke, speed, amphetamines, and so on, all of those non-natural, interfered with substances, people get aggressive on.
Well, after they don't.
Not after they don't trip, but the majority of them, they do.
Yeah.
But yet the natural ones that aren't interfered with, people say as a rule, and 100% with marijuana, they stay real mellow and placid. I'm not saying that any of them are good. I don't understand why your government wants to control and interfere with them. The fact that we don't have any laws like that on my planet, the only ones that we have are basically you don't kill, you don't steal. That's basically it, isn't it, Russ?
Well, are people forced to live on top of each other? Like, you know how the TV flips on and on and on and on, goes up and down?
Mm-hmm.
That's like as many different houses as they have living on top of each other.
Yeah, and that again is confusing for me.
That is mass confusion.
Mm-hmm. The population of Sirius is probably no more than maybe 15 or 20 million individuals.
Of a whole planet?
Mm-hmm.
That's not even the size of LA.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
If you notice, most of the families that are here on the base, or the individuals that you talk to from various families, they don't have big families.
No.
Partly due to the fact that
It's lived for 1,000 years. It's probably don't have population problems.
that's partly it. I mean, how old was Kiri when she had Alex?
She's like 35.
No.
Oh,
Kiri,
50. 50.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
Actually, she was 54, I think.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Which is like a teenager.
Right.
But if you look at Leica, she has, I think, 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And the age is stretched out. The only family that I know that is big is the Tanubial family.
I'll get it though. If you live for 1,000 years, you have 3 rejuvenations.
Mm-hmm.
You have all that time to make kids. Why not make kids?
Well, I'm an exception. I love children.
Well, yeah, you are exceptional.
Mm-hmm. But on average, I mean, my father is one of 3 children. My grandfather.
That's comparable for a life down here.
Mm-hmm.
About 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
Why overpopulate, though? Why not just enjoy life and always...
Well, that's what they do.
Why not enjoy life and always enhance on your own mind to become more intelligent?
That's what we did.
Because quantity is more important than quality is more important than quantity.
Well,
Exact quality is much more important. As my sister briefly mentioned, she enjoys making love a lot. I would say that's probably her her main addiction.
Well, it's a enjoyable addiction, depending upon the addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not an overriding passion in her life. It's not. Her life is spent purely in the pursuit of sexual activity or antics.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that is.
No, but it's something that is more than the occasional recreational hobby for her. She's blushing.
I am too.
We should probably put her on too, though. I think she has a little bit left to go for the end.
Okay. I will depart.
Okay, it was nice talking to you.
See you later. Yes, it's always a pleasure. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, John. Okay.
Yow.
I don't like to boot car, but I had the feeling that you're gonna run out of tape here if we didn't do something real quick.
Okay. Me and my sexual activities. She overstates things.
Well, I wouldn't call it an addiction so much.
Hey, I enjoy it.
Hey, so do I.
Hmm. If people didn't enjoy making love, and it's not sexual activities, it's a quest for making love. Big difference. I love giving this talk. The difference between sex and making love is sex is for recreation, for mutual pleasure, and a way of passing the time.
Yeah.
Making love is a gift from one person to another, the gift of the body. It's a completion. It's the ultimate gift. It's for bringing children into the world. Sex, anybody can have sex. The cats have sex. Dogs have sex. Making love takes intelligence, and it is a gift.
Foreplay.
Foreplay. Foreplay for me is something that should take a long time. Longer the better. And is an opportunity to size up the person that you're going to indulge with.
I'm gonna check on the tea and see how the tea is doing.
Well, one of the
cooking well by now.
one of the things that I've learned over the years is that when getting into foreplay is that you can take your chosen victim partner as far as you want. It depends on what your intent is. If you want to find out more about the person and you're in the mood and you're getting warmed up and you're going through the foreplay and you get to the point where, okay, do I really want to go all the way with this individual? Do I want to give myself to them? Or themselves, or do I want to let them give themselves to me? At that point, you can continue the act, but it's not fulfilled. It's sort of like a one-off. There's no sexual union. It's mechanical at that point. There's no penetration. It's purely, for want of a better word, handwork. There's no penetration into any part of the body. And it's designed in such a way that it's to finish off the emotion for them and to let them go their way. However, I find that if the person is appealing to me, that they are the kind of person that I want to indulge and have a sexual union all the way, then I will give myself to them. And normally 9 times out of 10 out up here, it's a mutual giving. We both give to each other. It's very important to feel comfortable. It's very important, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter, as was stated earlier, whether it's 2 people of the same sex or male, female. I enjoy either. It is a spiritual gift. It's the ultimate gift. Giving of oneself to another person. Can you think of anything more precious? Total submission to the other person.
Yeah, I agree.
So it has to be something very special for me to go all the way. To go the whole intimate, not only the physical, but the mental and the spiritual.
And do you really judge by age up there?
No. I've had partners that have been 300, 400, 500 years older than myself.
Oh my goodness.
I've had partners that are 30, 40 years younger than myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so age is irrelevant due to the fact that we have a technician that is sitting opposite me. Her nickname is Teen.
Uh-huh.
And she looks about 17.
Oh my goodness, that's pretty young.
That is, well, she's not. About 3-4 years ago, she had a body rejuvenation. All of her external cells and materials were totally rejuvenated. Her heart, lungs, liver were also rejuvenated. Her uterus, womb, fallopian tubes, everything was totally rejuvenated apart from her brain. She is over 300 years old.
Oh my goodness.
So how can you tell if somebody's just 17 or 300? So that takes away the age factor.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact that we're more spiritually inclined. To us, the intimate act of making love is is a spiritual act. It's a form of worship. You're worshipping the body of another person.
Yeah.
Whether it's with hands, mouth, tongue, any part of the anatomy, it is an act of worship.
Mm.
And yeah, there's nothing wrong with making love. I mean, how can it be wrong? I mean, something that gives pleasure. I can't understand that some of your religions would say that it's wrong.
I think they try to control people in that fact. In fact, a lot
Okay.
of people were raised to not even love or take care of our own self just because we are raised to force to be either taking care of someone else
Mhm.
or we are forced to be taken care of.
Mhm.
And that is pretty much how they set up the financial.
Yeah, the financial setups and everything.
Yes, exactly. And so they figure, well, if you don't care about yourself, it's like don't bother caring about yourself because you're not going to have yourself for long anyway. Someone else is going to probably end up taking care of you.
Yeah.
So it's like don't get too attached.
Yeah, that's the marriage thing, right? Yeah. Marriage, we call it bonding up here, and we do bond for life.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't stop individuals from going off and having extracurricular activity, affairs, you would call them. But they're not classified as affairs. The fact that we have access to our past lives and we know how we interacted in previous lives with various people or all the people that we have been interacted with.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's for fun, to pass the time, as a gift, or just to bring pleasure, it doesn't matter. There is no jealousy created by that. However, I think if I was to no, I don't even think that would come into the equation. I've had quite a few sexual partners in my life. I will not hide that fact. It's enjoyable. Since I've been hanging around those guys, that's Russ and Mark, I started putting notches in my belt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm joking. I don't have a belt that I put notches in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's giving oneself as opposed to just making another person happy, having sex. I mean, what's wrong with it? I mean, jealousy doesn't enter into the equation. The fact that I can go off and, if I wanted to, I could sleep with Taal. That's not wrong. I'm giving myself to him willingly. I'm consenting. I know my bond mate would probably just shrug his shoulders and go, "Hey, Kiri, you're your own girl." It's for fun. It's for enjoyment. How you bring pleasure is the important thing. I mean, what did Omar say? He said that I was good looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I am.
He used the term knockout.
Hey, I'm not a knockout.
You're quoting.
Hmm. But
Well, a lot of religions' restrictions on sex has to do with the transmission of sexual diseases. That was basically killing off a lot of the royal family of early England and Europe.
their inbreeding was killing off more effectively than sexually transmitted diseases.
True. So, I mean, they had to pass some kind of religious laws concerning it to keep
Yeah.
that from happening.
But yeah, I can understand on your planet you do have those risks. And there are ways of minimizing those risks. Yeah, I'm not advocating, what would you call it,
Promiscuity.
yeah, I'm not advocating that. If I lived on your planet, I would be very, very selective in my partners, very selective. The fact that the third dimensional male attitude, as a rule, the few third dimensional males that I've met in chatting sessions and discussed things with are very, what's Kia's favorite word? Chauvinistic.
Yeah, you're talking about Johnny.
Yeah, I mean that would tend me off third dimensional males right up. If I'd met Johnny before
the gentleman who lived here prior to trying to pick up on Tia, who's how many million miles away.
And she slapped him around very hard.
God.
I thought she was going to rip him a new one.
He was all drunk.
Sorry that happened. That happened to me a lot too. You wouldn't believe some of the men that have come on to me.
Well, I tell you a trick that may work. I suggested turning around and saying, well, I would be interested, but I'll have to talk to my girlfriend first.